Welcome to the Unapologetic Entrepreneurship podcast, where we believe that as entrepreneurs, we get to decide what our business and our life looks like.
And we get to be unapologetic about it.
You're your own boss, so why are you waiting for permission to do things your way?
Here, we ditch the shoulds. No more building a business that looks good on paper but feels bad in your body.
No more following someone else's strategy just because it worked for them or chasing someone else's version of success.
I'm Delia.
And I'm Joana, and this is not just another business strategy podcast.
We are going so much deeper.
We'll be talking about identity, purpose, our inner worlds, and designing a business around the life you actually want to live.
Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back to episode 5 in the Unapologetic Entrepreneurship podcast. And today, I'm going to be revealing the 5-word question that Joana asked me at the beginning of this week, or was it last week? I think it was the beginning of last week, which shifted everything for me in my business this week. Like, I cannot believe how motivated and inspired I have been this week. I've been jumping out of bed desperate to work every day.
Was this when we were talking about like what to do next after the challenge?
Yes.
So for context, Delia and I have recently wrapped up a challenge where we coached over almost 300 people through like how to get more clients. It's like a challenge with daily action steps. And we felt like the community were like, what's next? We want more. And we've had so many ideas. Like we have a list of ideas and we want to bring them all to life, right? But so what did I ask you, Delia?
So we were talking about all the different ideas, and no matter which, we whistled it down to 3 different ideas of what we're going to do next. And if you're curious what we're doing next, we are going to be revealing what's coming next, what Joana and I are bringing to life at the end of this podcast. So keep listening. But we whistled it down to 3 ideas, and no matter which one we went with, the first job to be done was copy and writing. And whenever we work together, that's my job, right? So I said to you, okay, which one should we do? And you asked me this question. You said, which is giving you more energy? And I was like, oh, because in my head, I was racing through, timelines, profitability options, all the I was really stuck in my head. And when you asked that question, I was like, whoa. I don't even remember. I just stopped, closed my eyes. And was like, I need to get back in my body to answer that question.
That's an important one.
And then, for those of you listening, I regularly say that with Joana, I've had my best aha moments and business breakthroughs from random 3-minute conversations with Joana. and this is an insight into that wisdom. And then I just sort of sat there for a moment and closed my eyes, and I really got into my body, and I felt I brought each project or idea into my body and just to see how it felt. And when the one that we've decided to go with came in, I just felt this surge of energy.
Well, you decided.
Yeah, my energy decided. My energy picked our next project because it just came up. I to the point where I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. Right?
Amazing.
Then since we've had that conversation, it was this week actually, wasn't it?
It was this week.
It was this week. Yeah, it was this week, not last week. It feels like
I remember you're like, Joanna, I'm so on holiday mode after being in Portugal. I need a call to know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I was like, we do this a lot, don't we? If we're struggling with knowing what to do next or getting ourselves back focused. We're like, can we just have a quick call? And I got off that call, and it was holiday mode was gone. and I've just been waking up every day and just attacking this project and sending you updates and voice notes and how it's and then that energy is, I mean, you tell me, but it feels like it was contagious because then the stuff you were coming back to me with was whoa.
No, it is contagious. And that's also what I learned from the challenge was that when we came up with the idea of the challenge, it was whoa, I feel so energized that by feeling that, I'm this makes me feel really excited, because if I feel this energized by it, if I feel this excited by it, it's going to be palpable when we talk about it to other people. It's going to be magnetic. And I think people resonate with our energies too, right? It's not just about the product. And maybe another one might have made more sense. Like, we even discarded one that was like, on paper, it made sense to be the follow-up
Yeah.
to the challenge. We're going to cover like all the things that come after you get a pipeline full of clients. And it was like, but I was like, how does that feel in your body? Remember, like, we also had that
Mm.
conversation. I'm like, I'm not that excited about putting that together. I feel like I could do it because I've lived through it. I've taught it many times, but I'm like, I don't think I could get that momentum again because I'm not being lit up by the idea. And so we discarded it. And I think like in some cases, when you can have the luxury to picking the project that lights you up the most, I think that's a good sign, because like the energy is there. It's more likely that the inspiration's going to come through. The project's going to like manifest itself pretty quickly. We're just like, it's almost like we're just becoming a channel for it. We're just like, oh, it's just like, now I have
Yes.
this idea. Now I have this other idea. And then, yeah,
And it's really powerful, but it is scary sometimes to do this,
of
isn't it?
course. Yeah.
Because that idea that we discarded, like you said, on paper, it was really good. And it was also, it felt solid and safe.
Yeah.
And it felt like, we know people want this. So the brain is going, this is the one. Like, it's going to be more profitable, and don't be silly, do this. And it can be really hard to not only say, no, I'm not going to do that, but also to let another idea come in when you've already attached to one, right?
Yeah.
And so I think if you're listening to this and you're thinking, okay, yep, just see what my body wants, what my energy wants, it's not as easy as it sounds.
Right.
You pushed me. I feel like you pushed me on that. Like, you were the one who actually said, okay, yeah, this isn't feeling good in my body. And then I was like, actually, it's not feeling good in my body too. But if you hadn't said that, then I
We
may
would have
not
just
have
done it.
recognized that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've just done it. Because the brain is powerful, right? So I think whenever we're talking about this energy and following your energy, it is often not what your brain is telling you to do. Like, how does this show up in your business? Like, Joanna, I feel you're so good at doing this. Like, do you have any like tips and tricks for
Oh gosh.
us?
Okay, well, first I want to say that we can't always have that luxury, right? Sometimes we've already committed to a project and it's like, well, I definitely, like, for example, right now I have 3 websites I need to close. They're not giving me that much energy, to be honest, because I'm a quick start. So like when a project comes in, I'm like, idea, let's get it in motion. And then when it's like the final details of like when we're about to launch, we need to review, make sure there's no typos, blah, I'm like, I don't feel like doing it. I'm like dragging my feet. But energy here is important too, right? Because you've committed to it. You can't just abandon a project. I don't recommend that just because you're like, oh, my energy is not there. Joanna and Delia told me to follow my energy.
Such a good disclaimer. I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, I think I'm like, oh, I'm scared about where this is going because I don't want people to just like abandon everything. But so I think that there are some tools that you can use to shift your energy, and that's important, right? Because how you feel in your body, whether you're feeling tired or you're feeling excited, whether you're feeling like you're good to go for focus mode or your mind is scattered, you can work with that. And the best tool that I've found to shift your state, to shift your energy, is through somatic body work. So what does that look like for me on a daily basis? Like, for example, when I'm noticing like my energy dip or I'm feeling really a lot of resistance towards doing this thing that I know I need to do, I've committed to doing it, but I'm like, oh, I feel scared or feel anxious about it. I want to look at like, okay, why is my body feeling like this, and can I shift it? And I do it through dancing. I'll put on music, I'll like shake it out. Like, shaking is really good as well to just like get your blood circulation going. And I do it through breath work. I just go on YouTube. There's this YouTube channel that I love, Breathwork by Sandy. And he's got like 10-minute videos, 15-minute videos. I just put it on, I oxygenate my body, and I feel that it's as good as having like an 8-hour sleep reset. And then I'm like, okay, now let me focus on the thing that I didn't want to do, but I'm in a much better state to tackle it.
Yeah.
So I do want to give that as a tool, because we can't always like just do whatever we feel like.
Yeah, no, I love that. But that's, yeah, how can you get energy for doing the things that we have to do that we don't always want to do? So, yeah, I love that.
And then across my career, the other thing that I've done is like, okay, what doesn't feel good repetitively? What really drains my energy?
Mm.
And how can I maybe shift my calendar or shift the place where I do it in? Or, like, for example, bookkeeping. I don't love it. I've said it in the previous episode, but I know, and I teach my students, cash flow visibility is super important to make sure that you don't get into trouble or to lower your anxiety that you have around money. So I know that it's like, I'm going to feel better if I have cash flow visibility, and that is only going to come through bookkeeping, which I don't like. And so I thought about like, okay, what can I do and at what moment or where? And so I have like the first Friday of every month, I have a personal trainer. Like I have personal training session first Friday, like every Friday, and then after that, I go to my gym's cafe, which is really beautiful. And if it's sunny, there's a balcony overlooking the park. It's amazing. And I have my money date. And I've even set it up in my calendar. I've got a few affirmations that I read out before I go into like the bookkeeping and things like, I'm getting better and better at managing and generating wealth. And I'm learning each month on how to get better at managing and generating wealth. And, um, I have joy in everything that I pay. And like I get myself in the mood for then
Mm.
actually trying to enjoy the task that I don't like as much as possible. So that's another example of how I've done it.
Yeah.
And a third one is like, can I delegate? And if I can't afford to delegate, how can I set my business up? And this is also something that I go through with my students. Is like, okay, well, you want to delegate that piece that really doesn't give you energy. It's not your zone of genius. What do you need to change about your business model or how you charge so that you can afford to delegate? Because if you can afford to delegate the things you're not great at, the things that don't bring you joy, and you're more time in your zone of genius, you're more likely to be successful. And sometimes the missing piece is like looking at that business model or what you charge.
Yeah, that's amazing. And with AI as well, there's so much that AI can do now that will make elements of our business easier that before have felt very cumbersome. But
Yeah,
I love the
I've been
movement.
trying to code a tool with AI that is going to help me with my bookkeeping and make it easier. So that's like something I've been doing as well.
Amazing. Um, I love the movement piece. That really helps me too. Just getting up and away from my desk, because I think so
Mm.
often we feel like if we're at our desk, we're being productive, even if we're not. It's a very mental thing. Whereas taking 10 minutes to I love dancing as well. I will sometimes just have a little rave or I just go for a short walk, just get
Mm-hmm.
some vitamin D and just move your body a little bit and then come back and do it. And I think as well, the other thing that's cool with energy, or the other thing to think about, is knowing when you work best. What is, are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? I know that I have to be creative in the morning. The
Same.
hardest days for me are actually when I have my daughter. So I have 50% custody with my daughter. They're the hardest days when I have my daughter for many reasons. And also my most joyful days for many reasons. But what I find hard is I obviously have to get her up and do the breakfast routine and it's such a kind of like, you're just giving, trying to organize this 6-year-old who's running around the house and chasing her with a hairbrush and a toothbrush.
Uh-huh.
And then finally get to school, and we live like 15 minutes away. So again, by the time I'm back, it's like I'm starting my day by 10:30. And that for me is a challenge, because
Mm.
my best work, my Joe, is if I can just get out of bed and almost go straight into creativity
Same.
without like any interruption, like I will literally just make a coffee and just start writing or start being
Yep.
creative, and it just
Yep.
flows.
Yep.
So I find it so hard coming back to my desk at 10:30. And for the longest time, I would get back and I'd just be like procrastinate or don't know what I'm doing. And then the days I
Yep.
didn't have her, I would sometimes struggle with the transition, but then I would just be able to get into it. So for me, doing a mindful walk sometimes really helps, where just to try to transition from that crazy morning routine where I feel like I've lost my mojo a little bit to getting into creative thinking for work. So I'll just walk for 10 minutes and I'll just name things I can see. So I'm not
Mm.
even commenting on them. I'm not thinking necessarily, I mean, I might do because I can't control my thoughts. I might think, oh, it's a really beautiful bush. But the goal is to go literally bush, tree, gate. Because I'm walking in my head. And it just kind of brings me back to the
Yeah.
present moment. And
Yeah.
it gets me out of my head, because whilst I'm labeling things I'm seeing as I'm walking, I can't be thinking 100 miles an hour of all the other things I'm going to do. And that just helps center me to get me into the energy for working.
Yeah. I think you touched upon a really important thing, which is like, if we're talking about energy, different tasks also require different types of energy. You know, there's like the deep flow, deep focus energy. There's like the admin that is just, okay, you need to be focused, but it's a different kind of focus. It's not like where your creativity needs to flow. You just need to be, you know, doing the admin stuff. Or when you're on calls, that's a totally different kind of energy, or when we're recording these podcasts. And I find like when I coach my students as well to do like a time audit and an energy audit throughout their day to see like where we need to like create changes, is, are you allowing yourself the right transition time between things? For example, school drop off for me is also super stressful. My 3-year-old daughter is in the height, I hope, of her tantrum phase. You've witnessed some of her tantrums this weekend, and it's like, I don't want to get dressed. I want to go in my underpants to school. She'll run away. She'll lock herself in her room. She won't let me get in. It's so stressful. And, you know, like I drop them off at school and I'm like, I need to go to bed, or I need a glass of wine. Wait, but it's only 9 a.m. Like, and so like, of course, I can't go like straight from like driving back to the office and going into deep creative flow. I'd probably not do great work. So I do have to allow myself for like a 15 to 20-minute transition where I mainly like do, again, dance and breath work. But it's also recognizing where else do you need transitions? Do you need a transition period after lunch because you're feeling the slump? Do you need a transition period after a call? Because you can't get off a sales call and then go straight into like a deep flow session. You need at least half an hour to like let your subconscious like organize all that information from that call, maybe do like some notes of things you want to follow up and put some things in your calendar, and then be like, okay, what's the next thing, and prepare for that. And the other thing, if we're talking about energy, is rest.
Yeah, so important.
Right? Because like, okay, I can ask you like, what's giving you most energy right now in the project choice that we had. But if now you were going to spend 24/7 following that energy, eventually it would run out.
Yeah. Energy is not infinite without
Right?
rest.
And so it's also important to like make sure that you are also having proper downtime scheduled in your calendar.
You're valuing that, because I think so often when we're, whether we're freelancing, running our own business, whatever we want to call it, we place a lot of value on working and getting it done and being on it. And it can be really hard to switch off. And rest can feel like a waste of time. I know that I struggled with that for a long time. I had this like mindset that rest was a waste of time. And when I rested, I needed to be doing something productive. And that productive thing could be reading a book. At least that's doing something, right? Or maybe I could be cleaning my house in that time. Or I could be answering my 1 million WhatsApp messages that are always backed up. um, and I struggled with just valuing rest, right? And that's something I've worked on, and I'm much better at it now. But I just mentioned that because I think so often we feel rest is lazy, right?
Mhm.
Like, I should be working harder, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And it's like, actually, what if we shifted the value we give to rest and see it as one of the most important pieces of work that you can be doing?
And I've seen from my students, it's not just the belief that rest is lazy, it's also the ingrained belief in us that it's not safe. Like, I have to
Mm,
be constantly working or else my business will not make money.
yes.
And that's a belief that if you have it, if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, I think that, it's worth looking at, exploring, seeing if you can shift it. And this reminds me of a student that joined ACBS, and she has a little kid. And when she joined, I was like, paint me a vision. ACBS was a success in helping you transform your business. What does your life look like now? And one of the things she says was like, I have Fridays off so I can take care of myself, because then when I come back from work, I'm taking care of my family and my little kid. And it's a lot, I'm giving to the business, I'm giving to the family, and I don't have time for myself. And so I'm like, okay, well, I don't think anything's stopping you from what I had learned about her business, and she had a team and everything. I don't think anything's stopping you from starting that right now. And then all those beliefs came up, like, oh, but what about my team? What about this? What about that? I'm like, well, just tell your team and your clients that like Fridays are your CEO days and you're working on strategy, but you don't necessarily have to do that. I actually recommend you rest and you do things that give you back your energy, because you're pouring so much energy into like being a new mother and the business. And so she did. And she realized that nothing broke and her revenue didn't go down, and she could take Fridays off. And in those Fridays off came an idea for a new business, which
Mm.
is really lighting her up, and she's not pursuing. But today we got on a call and I'm like, so are you still taking Fridays off? And she's like, no, I filled the Fridays with this new business. And I'm like, okay, well, and how are you feeling? And she's feeling tired
Yeah.
and overwhelmed as well, now that she's like
Mm.
juggling these two things. And I'm like, you need to find a way to reorganize your calendar again to get your Fridays back to yourself. Because
Yeah.
the only way I think she's gonna pull this off, and that it makes sense that she's even pursuing this second business, because at the end of the day, she joined ACBS because she wanted a Friday off to herself, right? So like, what's the point of like being more successful and having more money and having more business if that was your desire and you're not like giving yourself the room for it, right?
Wow. And it's
And
it, sorry.
yeah, and so like that's what I suggested she do next, is like, okay, well, how can like that Friday become another weekday that she removes from the agency? So she now is working 3 days on the agency, 1 day on the new business, and maybe 2 days on the agency, 2 days on the new business. But that those Fridays, because we all know weekends for mothers, that's not a rest.
They should be given a new name, not weekends.
Holidays, even worse. Like summer
I
holidays are
call
a
them
lot of
trips.
work.
I call them
Okay.
trips, not vacations.
Yeah.
When you have kids.
Um, so yeah, so to protect that time.
I love that. And that comes back to something you've always said to me of it really is about the journey in entrepreneurship. It's not about the destination, right?
Mm.
It's not about what happens when she's got those two businesses up and running, and what happens when she's doubled her revenue potentially from having two businesses. It's not about that. It's about today. It's about
Yeah.
right now. It's about, how are you feeling in your business today? Is it lighting you up? And if not, then why not? Because chasing something that might be coming tomorrow and sacrificing the now for is not what it's all about, because we'll
Yeah.
always be chasing something. There's always,
Yeah.
generally entrepreneurs, we are ambitious. We have lots of ideas. We get excited about things. We want to start new things. Like, that's almost in our DNA. And if we're not careful about how are we feeling energetically in our business today, then we lose sight of all of it, right? It has to be about how we feel right now.
Yeah. And you just hit that milestone and you've already moved the signpost or whatever, however you say
Yeah,
it,
because it will just
onto
keep
the
moving.
next. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It does. And I think in our time of being friends and working together, something I've always really admired in you is that you've always been really good at coming back to, am I enjoying this? Does it feel good? Because if not, what's the point? And I
Yeah.
think so few people do that because we get carried away by that bigger goal. And, if you're listening to this and you haven't listened to the first episode yet, please do go and listen to it, because you talk about the story of the Mexican fisherman.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what this is, right? It's the case of, how can we have a great day energetically today? And one other thing I was going to say actually was, on energy, is that so often we follow patterns of what we're told works for other
Mm,
people. And I
yes.
think we need to be really aware of that and really question that, because, how often have you heard things like, okay, you need to have a themed day. So on
Hmm.
Mondays, it's just social media. On Tuesdays, it's just client work. And you have to theme your days, and that's the latest productivity hack. Or you have to get up and you have to swallow that green frog, that big difficult thing. You have to do that, before you do anything else. And I think so often we can end up believing all these things are true, seeing these productivity hacks and being like, oh, okay, I should do that then, and not listening to our energy and doing what we've heard works for other people. And I just think it's so easy to do. We're so easily influenced by other people. But I'm just like, if you're listening to this, like, just throw the rule book out the window and just think, what does your ideal day feel like? When do you work best? How do you want to do this and approach this?
Yeah, and there's merit to some of those productivity hacks. I think it's worth you experimenting with it, because maybe you will love themed days. Like, for example, the best thing that one of the best decisions I made is that I only have calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I love
Mm.
that. I love that I have Mondays always free from calls, Wednesdays and Fridays. I think that giving a container to when calls could be placed in my diary was a really helpful, quote unquote, productivity hack. It helped with my energy and my productivity. The swallowing the frog, for example, it when I get the task that I know I'm resisting, the big task that I know I'm resisting, but it's going to move the needle, definitely needs to get done. If I do it the first thing, it does give me energy once it's done, because then it's like, oh, I've conquered the day. It's not something that is just looming over me for the rest of the day, weighing me down. So
Yeah.
I agree with you, like, throw the rule book out of the window, but also, like, experiment and see what works for
Yeah.
you. But what you said reminds me of a reel I saw this morning by Taki Moore. He's been a client of Gift Design Studios, and I just like I love his approach to business, because he's like, I don't want to be the CEO of my business. I want to be the CWO, the chief wanting officer. What do I want to do? And so recently he's fired like a team of 30. He's like, well, people say that I should have sales calls. Well, I don't like doing sales calls, so I'm just going to remove that from my business and see what happens. Just because someone said
Yeah.
that's how you do business doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be for him. And he's now having one of his most profitable years yet. He shared that he makes $1 million a month with like a very nimble team. And they don't have sales calls. Instead, what he likes doing is creating content, is having conversations with people, which he now brings some videographers along and does like his Coffee with Coaches series. And he keeps on finding ways to like just trying to like only do what he wants in his business. And I find that really inspiring. He's super unapologetic about it. And that's what I try to bring to my business too.
I love that so much. Do what you want. It's literally, I feel like
Again,
it
with
is.
a disclaimer, because there are certain things that we still need to do. Like, do pay your taxes, even if you don't want to.
Do more of what you want.
Yes.
Do more of what you
Or be
want.
creative. Like, how can this be easier? I don't like doing this. Can I delegate, delete, change, systemize, optimize, batch, whatever? Yeah.
Yeah. So talking about doing what we want, shall we tell everybody what we're doing next? which
Yeah,
is what we
what
want to
your
do.
energy decided.
What my energy decided.
And why did it decide that? Because I was surprised.
Were you?
Yeah, tell us about it.
Okay. So, Joanna and I are going to be launching very soon a new and amazing version. Not even, it's a kind of a whole new thing.
Yeah.
We are designing an AI website in a day kit. So we are currently and this is going to be a mega product. I've spent all week putting my entire brain, completely all my brain into Claude, into AI to be building out really detailed skills for all key website pages. So like homepage, about page, services page, portfolio pages. So, and even doing this whole like brand interview at the beginning so that you can really understand like your unique brand voice and your unique positioning so that you can literally download these skills into your Claude and get a website which is almost written by me. And then on top of that, Joanna, will you say what you're doing on top of that?
Well, so this is a product that we've are now like improving, like 10xing, because it's a need that we found in our ACBS students, right? And also in our clients, because let's face it, like we've been doing websites for, well, I've been doing websites for 12 years. You've been doing copywriting for around 6.
Yep.
Right? For clients. And so we've seen the need of like creating a kit to help our students who can't afford us to do their websites, to get their websites done in a way that it does attract and convert clients, that it does help them position as the missing piece that their clients need and makes the process of signing up, inquiring really easy, or self-identifying that this service provider is the one for them, and attract aligned clients and all that jazz. And we did initially create the website in a day kit that had like templates, and this was like we created it just at the beginning of AI. So like we then were like, oh, I think we should include like something on how to like use AI to help you with this. But it was, 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
I think it was
so
3
like
years ago.
AI has evolved so much, and if you prompt AI correctly, if you give it a good base, then it's going to create such a better result. So but this is why I was like, I'm surprised that you chose this one, because like you didn't want to be doing copywriting anymore, right?
And
now you're like
pissed off with AI. But I think I felt like now I'm focusing more on coaching, whether it be like coaching people through messaging and positioning or coaching people through pivots. There's a part of me that's like, oh my gosh, I have got 6 years of experience inside of me right now. And as I'm coaching my clients on their messaging and positioning, feeling more and more like, okay, I'm not going to write your website right now. That's not what I'm offering. But what if I could give you my brain in this really compact version, and then you can do it yourself? And so almost actually, I feel like, it's been I've been on a bit of a journey with this, but it almost feels like a way of giving back now. Like, it's like, instead of just letting that information just kind of like rot inside me, I'm like, okay, what if I've literally spent a whole day just working on creating like the homepage skills. And then I would be like eating lunch and then be thinking of all these like random things that I feel about homepages, and then like running back to Claude and being like getting my microphone out because I talked to it, and then just like giving it all this stuff, and then going back and finishing my lunch. And it's felt so cathartic to like
amazing
get it out of my brain and put it into a product where it is gonna be, I think, really transformational. And going back to like talking about purpose yesterday, in the last episode, and we were talking about purpose. Honestly, this is giving me purpose, because I know that those people who can't necessarily pay, like, when you and I do projects together with design and copywriting, it might be like a 30K project or more. And instead, what if we can give some of that excellence and expertise to someone for like, I don't even know what the price, but a smidget of that price. right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
elegant.
Yeah. And then talking about the last episode, like if we're thinking about like our frustrations, one of my frustrations in the challenge and when coaching students is when they're spending too long on their website. And I'm like, I want to help you get clients. We can't spend 6 months on getting the website perfect because the website is a key piece when you're doing outreach, when you're getting clients, like positioning yourself as an expert and all of that. And so the copy was a huge piece that like you're thankfully taking care of. And like, I can't wait for people to like play around with these skills and like have their greatness extracted out of them through your prompts and your templates and all of that. But the other place I saw people getting stuck, especially the creatives that were not web designers or developers, is the actual bringing the website together. And I don't think that AI is there yet when it comes to just like, oh, here's like some reference images, create me a website. And then there's all the questions of like, okay, but now I need to change this image. How do I do it? And now where do I host it and all of that? So I'm creating a template where you could like drag and drop, and most of the design is done. I'm creating tutorials on how you can do it on Show It and be super easy. You can do it in a day. Show It was the platform I built Delia's website on, and I just fell in love with it because of how designer friendly it was and how easy it was to work with. And the other place my students get stuck is like, oh, I don't have professional photos. But I've been playing around with a lot of AI tools on how you can take some photos of yourself with your phone and have some reference images and get these amazing photographs so that that doesn't become what holds you back. If you then can afford to hire a professional photo shoot, I recommend it. I think it's not only a great experience, but like it's great to have like real photos of you versus AI. But if it's between waiting for 3 months so that I couldn't afford it, and right now let me have a poor quality selfie on my website, then let's go with AI. Please,
Yeah.
please, let's raise the standards because now there's like no excuse. Your photos need to look great, and this could be a shortcut. Like there, even though like Delia and I like we have a love-hate relationship with AI, when it comes to solving this problem of getting our students and clients to like get out there, share your brilliance, share your gift, it can be an accelerator. And so we're like holding your hand through the whole process so that you can absolutely do it in a day and you don't have to like go down the rabbit hole of like which tool for what and lose yourself in thousands of hours of YouTube. Like we're here.
I'm
Gonna be
so excited. Like it is giving me so much energy. And you guys should see the photos that Joanna
Joanna.
has. I just called you
Alea.
Alea, which is my 6-year-old daughter.
Do you know, I
and she
keep calling my daughter Delia. It's also Bia, so it sounds similar. Anyway.
Alea is not involved in this product for those of you listening, but you got to see the photos that Joanna has produced with AI. From the one that came with you with 3 legs.
3 legs.
3 legs. Joanna's made the mistake so that you don't have to, so that you will not be getting any images with 3 legs. But oh my gosh, some of the other ones you sent me were just phenomenal. Like there's nothing. There's no AI red flags with them.
And it looks like me, right?
It looks 100% like you.
Yeah.
Like your face hasn't changed.
Mhm.
So I want this product for that tutorial because I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to AI images. And then the other part that I'm really excited about as well is the onboarding that we're doing with it. Because you know, one of the first things when Joanna and I do our like strategy calls for, you know, like our big 30, 40K projects is we do really, really detailed strategy sessions where we're asking the questions that are going to really reveal what makes you different and unique. And we have put our heads together to be bringing all of those questions into the initial onboarding. So it will almost be like when you like put that first skills into Claude, it will be like you're having an onboarding session with me and Joanna because it will be asking you all the questions. And that is the juice that is actually, and it's actually going to create like a brand Bible for you. And then that is the juice that means that your copy and I guess the design too, but like your copy, especially for the words, is not going to feel like everybody else's. And also, I'm working really, really hard with Claude to have a list of all banned words. So all those, like, all the words that just give your copy away as AI. I'm working really hard to reduce as many of them as possible.
Or like the triptychs and the last
stuff.
sentence that means nothing.
Yeah, the last sentence that means nothing. Yeah, so I've literally, like, sometimes I'm like bullying it. I'm like, remember, we never write a single word that's unnecessary. And it's like, yeah, you've told me that 5 times.
I love it. Oh my God. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to help for anyone listening that doesn't have a website they're proud of and who can't afford us.
Yeah, right?
You're going to love it. Yeah.
So if you're listening to this and you're even a little bit as excited as we are, then have a look in the show notes, because we are opening a wait list so that you can be the first to know when it becomes available, because we're working on this ship, but we're not exactly sure when it's launching into the world.
All right. And if you're like, oh, but I'm really proud of my website, don't worry, because Delia and I are like in a creative flow and we have so much more coming.
Yeah, this is just the beginning.
Yeah. All right. I think we'll wrap it up here and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
That's it for this week. If you enjoyed this episode or if something here landed for you, share it with a friend.
Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss next week's episode.
And if you can, please leave us a review. It really helps new people find us.
See you next time.